What the CEOs of Twitter and Google have in common, along with the many IIT alumni who've gone on to head major companies? Well, of course, they come from one of the most prestigious schools in India, and that worth and that love for IIT alums is rubbing off in the job market this year. On day one of recruitments, we've seen phenomenal salaries and a huge jump in recruitment. In fact, there have been offers as high as 2 crore rupees per annum for IIT graduates, and this even beats what the average CEO salary is in India. Let's first get a sense of what a whopper day one has been. Khushbu joins us for more.
Clearly, the pandemic loom is subsiding, and that is clearly visible in the placements and the packages that are being offered at the IITs and the premier institutes. Let's take a look at how the first day of the placements at IITs has fared up. IIT-Roorkee a student at the IIT-Roorkee has secured the highest package of 2.15 crore in Indian currency from an international firm. Similarly, the domestic package has also increased up to 1.8 crore rupees this year. As compared to last year, it was only 80 lakh rupees. Similarly, if we look at the total number of students who have got a higher package than 1 crore, total 11 students have got the higher package than 1 crore. Similarly, even the offers that have come up, the total offers this year are higher than the last year. Even the pre-placement offers that the institutes received this time have been high on the higher end. All other institutes that we talked to have said that there have been nearly 40% uptick in the overall packages and the overall offers that have been made. Similarly, if we look at all the firms that have come up like Uber, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Goldman Sachs, apart from these, the new age companies have also picked up like Zomato, Grow and Flipkart, and all these firms are now looking at premium institutes to get the right talent. At IIT Guwahati, the highest package has gone up to 2 crore rupees. Similarly, there have been multiple students who have got above 1.1 crore package. It's raining in crores for the in packages for the students this time. Similarly, over 200 students, like 200 offers have been made by 38 companies on the day one. This data is from the day one. The same trend has been witnessed at IIT Bombay also. There too, the highest package has gone up to 2 crore rupees. And similarly, the trend at IIT Mandi is also that there have been a significant rise in the average packages that have been offered at the institute. If we compare it to how the CEOs in India earn, there has been if we look at the hikes that they have got this time, the Indian CEOs, in FY21 they got nearly 13% hike, and if you look at the average base of CEO salary in India, it's nearly 30 lakh per year, and the total average of the CEOs that they earn ranges between 52 lakh rupees to 1.3 crore. So clearly there's an uptick, and the right talent is being picked up from these premier institutes.
So what are the sectors that are hiring, and will this great news coming in from IITs also indicate a trickle-down effect for the wider professional formal employment sector? To get some perspective on that, I'm joined today by Shantanu Rooj. He's founder and CEO of TeamLease EdTech. Sekhar Garisa, CEO of Monster, is joining us on the show, as is Tushar Jain, who is Associate Professor and Advisor for the Career and Placement Cell at IIT Mandi. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us today. Mr. Jain, let me begin by just getting your perspective. Are we truly seeing a wider based increase in recruitments this time around? Are you seeing a marked, significant change compared to the last couple of years?
Yes, in fact, if I speak about the IIT Mandi, so this year we had seen a significant growth in the number of offers, in the number of companies participating in the recruitment drive, and also in terms of the packages. Yes.
Okay. Professor Jain, can you take us through what kind of companies are showing interest, and are you seeing only large companies or well-renowned companies coming in, or is it across the board?
So this time we are seeing this increasing trend not only from the big companies but also from the startups as well. So startups are participating, they are approaching to us for the recruitment, and also the companies which are abroad, mainly from the Japanese companies. So it's not only from the big companies are participating as regular, like they did in the previous year, but also the startups, the companies which are from the public sector units, and also companies from abroad as well. Yeah.
You know, Sekhar, is this indicative of the broader trend where talent is getting scarce? In the context of startups, we've spoken before about how various companies have been, pulling talent towards them, especially in the product development category, offering them not just fantastic salaries but great perks. So, is what we're seeing with the IIT placement, and that's just day one data that we're talking about, an indicator of things to come?
Yeah, hi. Absolutely. I think we've spoken earlier on this topic about the war for talent and to what level the companies are going to be able to attract the best of the talent. And it's natural that it trickles down to the entry level hiring as well. And that's what we're seeing. First and foremost, I think we should celebrate this. It's great to see this kind of placements happening at the premier institutes. And I'm sure as we go down to the rest of the year and we see placement information coming in from the rest of the colleges, we would see some very good numbers. So firstly, let's celebrate this. It's been a while coming, but it's here, and we should all be very happy that the students now have access to such opportunities with such compensation. And I think there are a few reasons for this that's happening as I was thinking about it. The first one is the experience premium that otherwise people would pay for other roles may not apply as much to the tech. We're seeing many students, and the body of work that they generate even while they're at campus has been phenomenal. So in many cases, you're getting candidates who are absolutely job ready from day one and has demonstrated that through a number of things that they have done while being at college. So think of these students as being much more job ready in the context of tech versus maybe you would look at a sales professional or a marketing professional. So that's one thing where these students are score significantly higher. The second one you want to see is students who are coming out now are very well trained or very comfortable with the latest tech stack, which is another reason why they're getting this kind of a premium. If you go back to what Malcolm Gladwell says in Outlier, he gives a very interesting example of how almost all the phenomenal tech leaders we see have been born between 1954 and 56. It's because if they were born before that, they would have been trained in mainframes. So they had to be born at that time so that they're naturally tuned towards personal computing. So in many ways, I think students who are coming out now, from the time that they've started working on programming, they've been exposed to the new tech stack. And that's what the companies are looking for. So, from that perspective, also the new crop of candidates coming out of campuses are really quite job ready as well as attractive from the tech stack that they started working on. The other thing that you see as a trend here is, remote working or work from anywhere is a trend. So you see more and more companies. Tushar mentioned companies from Japan as well. I'm sure companies from US have been coming for a while. So that arbitrage of companies willing to pay a dollar equivalent salary is also playing out here. So all in all, I think the number of tailwinds, but great results, and congratulations to all of those students who've been able to get through.
Let me just go to Shantanu on the point about the salaries. Why are we seeing top dollar being paid for IIT graduates this time around? Is it also reflecting the increase in demand across sectors and the need to expand with quality talent right at the get-go?
Yeah, so Tamanna, there are a few things, as Sekhar rightly said, that we are also observing from a market perspective. So if you see this time, apart from a technology shift, we are also seeing a business shift happening all across the industry. Large number of organizations, large number of industry sectors are moving towards real digitalization. That's actually impacting their businesses, right? So that's one thing. Second thing that we are also observing is the fact that this time the change that's happening is not around one technology. It's not about mainframes. It's not about client server. It's not about only internet. But this time we are also seeing a confluence of technologies which is actually driving this change. Cloud, data sciences, AI, ML, IoT. So there's multiple technologies coming up there. So two things which are driving this type of a change now. Resultantly, we have started seeing that organizations are restructuring their workforce strategies. Lateral hires are really becoming expensive these days. I'm sure Sekhar will agree with me when we see that people from laterally, people who are rightly skilled are asking for a 50, 60, 80%, or even at times 100% type of salary jump. And the attrition level that we are seeing today is close to about 50% across organizations. Now, to counter this, organizations now want to have a more sustainable talent supply chain that they want to get created, right? So, and hence they want to ensure that they're going right to the premium institutions, and that the surge that we are seeing in IITs have started spilling to the next category of engineering colleges too. So we're started seeing that organizations want to go to their roots, find out the best type of talents which come with those opening balances of analytical thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, basic communication skill sets, take them through a curated training process, typically a hire, train, and a deploy model, and create a sustainable competitive advantage for themselves. So whatever we have started seeing in IITs today, Tamanna, we are all started seeing the impact of the overflow of that in the other engineering colleges too. So in large number of category 2, category 3 engineering colleges and large number of management colleges, we have started seeing that the demand has started increasing tremendously, much better than last year.
Wow, that's great news. You know, both of you have talked about the quality of students coming out and how they are prepared with the new tech that companies require right off the bat. So they're more job ready. Professor Tushar, do you think that this is also a result of a change in focus, or is this something that you have been working on the academic side to ensure that your students are more job ready?
Yes, Tamanna. So in fact, if I particularly speak about the skill set, what Shantanu has mentioned, that about the machine learning, IoT, and all those stuffs. So in lieu of that, the institute has also started the new BTech programs, focusing only on the data science, engineering physics, which are not so in line with the classical BTech programs, which we have been seeing from ages in electrical engineering, mechanical engineering. So it is not the same case because those students were already taking some courses. Let's say if a student is from electrical engineering or a mechanical engineering, there were some courses on the data science which were already offered to them. But whenever the company visits, they want to see the holistic overview, that how a particular student or a particular batch of students are well prepared in one direction. So when we see that the student is taking a particular set of courses over the 4 years in specific fields, data science or embedded system, and in fact on the intersection of the embedded system and the machine learning. So all those stuffs are quite nicely accepted by the companies these days. So if I add here,
Yeah.
so in the embedded systems, so generally it was the case earlier that when you want to do some high computing stuffs, which requires some machine learning algorithms to be performed on a small chip, it was quite difficult to perform on that. But with the new technologies, with the new algorithms, you can now plan to implement those high computing algorithms onto a small chip.
Yeah.
So these trends we are seeing here, and in fact it is being seen around all the IITs particularly.
Sure. You know, I want to make this broader than just what is happening at IIT, because like we said, it's indicative of a larger trend. And Sekhar, you wanted to comment on, the Twitter CEO and the Google CEO being IIT alums. But along with this, let me ask you what a big role attrition has to play in these fantastic salaries like Shantanu mentioned. Do you think this is why companies want to bring in great talent just at the get-go and lock them in?
Yeah, actually my point about the Twitter CEO was slightly different. I was about to say, would you really find a 37-year-old becoming CEO of a non-tech led company? So the DNA and the way the tech companies look at talent and the premium they actually place on youth versus premium placed on experience is something that we all need to understand. So you wouldn't find a 37-year-old maybe becoming a CEO of a P&G or a Unilever, but you would find a 25, 30, 32-year-old becoming a CEO of a large tech startup. So, there's definitely a different dynamics that's at play here when it comes to product and tech organizations. Secondly, yeah, attrition definitely plays a role. And by the end of the day, we all have to remember that companies pay only for the value that gets delivered, right? And why do, therefore, the tech resources at this point in time are getting paid so much? The conversations that we're having with our customers, they're very clear that the difference between a good salesperson and a great salesperson, maybe 15, 20%. Right? But a difference between a great engineer and a good engineer and the kind of output they deliver is significantly different, 5 to 6 times different. So the people are willing to pay for that talent because the difference between the good and the great is significantly high. The second thing is whatever a tech resource delivers is scalable. And the salesperson end of the day reaches out to a particular set of customers, works in a certain set of market, but whatever a product and tech resource delivers is highly scalable and impacts the entire organization. So organizations have realized that having access to great tech talent actually makes the most difference between company A and company B, and therefore they're willing to pay that premium to get access to this talent. And now with all this attrition coming in, I think Tushar also made, or Shantanu made the point that you could either go out to the market and compete for the talent, which is already heavily competed for, or you could open a new source of supply which is coming in fresh from the campus this year. Admittedly at IITs, companies seem to be paying salaries at par or higher than even experienced resources. But if you go down the path of the next few months, I'm sure every company will hotly contest for even fresher talent, especially in product and tech related fields. We would see that happening. So across the board, we expect one, fresher hiring to be at never before levels, and two, the compensations also significantly being higher.
One thought which comes to mind, Shantanu, is how broad-based is this? I mean, I'm looking at CMI data for the last month, and it's saying that urban unemployment has gone up. Is it just simply a question of great demand for certain skill sets, which may be niche, but then there is huge demand if you have those skills?
So Tamanna, I mean, we have always debated this unemployment data for quite some time. And I have also been reading reports about how unemployment in India is going up from 6.5% to 8.5%. But then, so when you say talked about unemployment data, we are saying multiple things. It's just about 8.5%. I mean, so is that a false data? It may not be. But if you try to tally that data with the Provident Fund data, for example, which is one of the most authenticated way of figuring out how many people are really working, it starts figuring out there's some sort of a mismatch somewhere playing out there. What it goes on to say is that possibly in India, whoever wants to have a job has a job, but then possibly they do not have the type of wages that they need and that deserve, right? So then does India have a job problem or a wages problem is a large debate to be had this time. But secondly, what we are definitely seeing this time is that the demand which is coming up and the freshers hiring that's happening is largely broad-based. It's not only about, though technology companies, internet startups are at the front face of this because largely market is digitalizing. Right. So, and as we are seeing this digitalization happening, it's not for the short term. We organizations believe that there's a long-term impact of these digitalizations, and possibly businesses are transforming themselves for good this time. And because of these things, there's a huge demand for technology or internet-based resources, people who can do that. And if you see, India is at a second influx point this time. I mean, all this while, about 5 million Indians exported more software than what Saudi Arabia exported oil to the entire world. We believe that in the next 4 to 5 years' time, this 5 million number is going to almost go to up to 10 million. And this is great for the country, great for engineering colleges, for all of the students there. So now, most organizations to get ready for this digitalization wave is looking at 3 things, as Sekhar rightly said. They're looking at how to reduce their cost of hiring. They're looking at how to improve productivity of the new hire, and they're looking at how to reduce attrition for the team members that they need, right? So they have started realizing that unless they start and working at the roots, at the foundation, and start manufacturing their own employees, possibly they can't get there, right? So freshers hiring is going to become important. This is broad-based, and I think we're going to see this trend going on for some more time.
So let me break it down from the perspective of job seekers. And of course, very few get into an IIT or an IIM, and it's great news for them. But for a wider audience, Sekhar, and let me come to you on this. What are the skills then that you need to have to be, hot property in the job market right now?
I think the skills, there's several reports that have been put out there in terms of skill top 10, top 20, top 30 skills which are in demand. I think students have easy access to that. Any of the latest tech stack, skills, there's enough demand in the market. What is more important is students prepare themselves and get to a point where they convince the employers they're absolutely job ready. And even on that front, there are several things that students can do, proactively take assessments, proactively, get their certifications and, coding challenge ranks. And these are all very important data points that recruiters see versus, usually when you go to hire a fresh talent, there's very little data to go by to differentiate one from the other. But if you see a candidate who not only says he or she has learned that skill, but has gone out and has gotten a certification, has got an assessment rank with any of the premium assessment platforms, has done some projects around it, that gives the confidence to the recruiter that this is a candidate who can really easily scale up and be productive from day one. So it's more about, kind of bridging that the gap between what they learn in the college versus convincing the recruiter that they're job ready versus really, zooming in on a particular technology. I think across the board, there are enough jobs. Students are aware of it. All the skills are pretty secular in terms of demand out there. But what is more important is, are they ready? Are they ready to be productive from day one? And there are very, very easily available ways to demonstrate to the recruiters that they are ready, and that's where they should be focusing on. And if they do that, I have no doubt this time, many of the customers that we are speaking to, they're betting very, very heavily on campus hiring. And so, it's a good chance for students to use the time from now till the hiring to be ready and be prepared when that opportunity comes.
Yeah, be prepared for the opportunity, convince prospective employers that you're ready for real life use of the skills that you have gained. And frankly, it's broadly great news, because if the cream of the crop are getting the big bucks, it also means that generally there is buoyancy in the employment market, which is a huge testimony to India's recovery. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.